There was a request from Lynn for me to talk about my background and who I am, but we're kind of short of time, so I'm going to pass on that. No, wait. There is something I would like to do in the coming year. I know that sometimes finding speakers is difficult, and this is actually part of my talk, if you like. I don't know what all that was. What I would like to do is have a series of speakers that I consider vocational. It is, after all, one of our avenues of service. And we have a number of people on the island who have had unusual careers. And I really would like them to talk about how they got there. And I'd really like to be able to do this in lockstep, particularly with the middle school, Island Pacific, and maybe with, I don't know, Rockridge and West Van. But I'd like young people to be able to see how people find their way into unusual careers that are not the ones that the schools normally direct you to. You'll go to college and you'll become a professional and that kind of thing. I think that we could have a really interesting series, and I'd be glad to do one, because how do you get to be a planetarium director? And it was a wonderful part of my career. So that's something I have coming up for the coming year. And since I've mentioned that at this point in this talk, I would like you folks to think about who you know who's had an inspiring and interesting career that we could use as a speaker who would be willing to talk about how they found their way there. One of the things I realized as a parent I could do for my kids was not try to encourage them to be anything, but to open as many doors as possible so that they could see that this is a wonderful world with all kinds of opportunities. What I did want to talk about is Stephen and I have been through the President-Elect training, PETS, and that was really quite a remarkable weekend. I think from Friday till Sunday night, I had 8 long Zoom sessions, none of them less than 90 minutes and some over 2 hours. So that was a lot. And yet I didn't come away from that feeling zoomed out. I came away learning an awful lot about Rotary and thinking a lot about what we were going to be doing in the coming year. So what I'd really like to do is share with you some of the things that I learned about. And what I found is really difficult for me to do screen shares and run one of these meetings, because right now I've got all of you and I've got the chat field up. If somebody has a problem, they can chat to me privately. I've got the participants list where I can put people's hands down. And one of the things I've asked Stephen to do, which we went through his 2 computers, and the only thing that's going to make this work is he's going to use Kiko's computer to be able to show you the resources I'd like to be able to share with you. We have a remarkable year coming up, and one of the things that makes it remarkable is the incoming president of Rotary. We have a Canadian and a very presentable, inspiring woman, Jennifer Jones. And I'd like you to hear what she has to say about what we should be doing with our clubs, and also to present the theme for the coming year. So, Stephen, if you could pull that up, I'd appreciate it.
All right.
So first of all, I want to show you what you're going to see is on the Bowen Rotary site. You don't need to go looking for it on the web. There's a whole page devoted to her talk. And what I did was put on the page the YouTube talk that I chose that you should see, but also, in addition, I have the entire text of her talk, because I find a lot of people would rather read than listen. And if you add to that the people who are quite happy to listen and read at the same time, that's all here for you on this page at our website. So you can find it easily as part of the news and activities on our website. And now if Stephen, if you'll bring up the YouTube piece itself, what I want you to hear is, here she is not talking to the membership. I chose something different for you. This is where she's talking to the heads of the district, talking about what we should be doing with regard, or what they should be doing to encourage us to develop membership. And she also talks about the theme, and I think you'll find that interesting. Anytime you're ready, Stephen.
A few years ago, my friend Bronwyn Stevens took me to a school in Melbourne. It was there that I met a young interactor named Peter. He told me, if you want responsible children, you have to give them responsibilities. Peter was on to something important. We don't have a problem bringing members into Rotary. We struggle to keep them. We're a revolving door in every part of our world. We need to ask our members what they want out of their experience, and then we need to provide them with meaningful responsibilities. It's our offer of hands-on service, personal growth, leadership development, and lifelong friendships that create purpose and passion. These are our responsibilities. If we don't serve our members, we don't serve our communities. And if we don't provide comfort and care for our members, they may never truly get the power of Rotary. And please understand, when I use the term members, it means Rotary and Rotaract. We are all Rotary members. We have been entrusted with leadership in our great organization. Now it's up to us to be brave and intentional in our actions and to let others help us lead. President Shaker launched our Empowering Girls initiative last year, and it has resonated around the world. We will continue this bold effort, recognizing that empowered girls become empowered women. We have less than a year and a half to achieve the board-set target of 30% women in Rotary. We've come a long way, and already more than 110 countries have achieved this goal. That said, we have a long way to go, and 30% is the next stop on the way to 50. And you know, our members in Rotaract have already achieved this distinction. Speaking of embracing the different and unique, new clubs, and especially new club models, are vital to growing Rotary. I need your help. I need your help with this. And I'm asking each of you to help form at least 2 new innovative or cause-based clubs during your term as governor. And then, and perhaps most importantly, instill in them and your existing clubs too our comfort and care philosophy. Let's make sure we engage our members so they love their clubs and their Rotary experience. 50 years ago, an anthem was recorded that included this beautiful line. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hear that lyric as a call to action. We all have dreams, but acting on them is a choice. And when organizations like ours dream big things like ending polio and creating peace, it becomes our responsibility to make these dreams a reality. Imagine a world that deserves our best, where we get up each day knowing that we can make a difference. You don't imagine yesterday, you imagine tomorrow. Imagine a world without polio. Imagine a world with clean water for everyone. Imagine a world free of disease, a world where every child learns to read. Imagine kindness and hope and love and peace. And that's, my dear friends, why our theme is Imagine Rotary. There is a great line in the song from the Broadway musical Rent. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in a life? Some of you may be familiar with this play, or some of you may be more familiar with the Puccini opera that inspired it, La Bohème. My friend, sitting Governor Michelle Barrere, recently challenged a bunch of us to think about how each one of us gets the same number of minutes. How we choose to live them is the important question. On July 1, the clock starts ticking. How will you use these minutes? Logo. So knowing that Melbourne is our convention destination, it seemed only natural to reach out and connect with an Australian artist. Ricky Salem is an Indigenous artist with deep ties to the people of that land. We met virtually several times, and it was amazing to hear him explain the importance of each element. As he shared, the circle in Aboriginal culture signifies our connections to one another. The dots around it represent people, and there are 7 because of our areas of focus. The circle and the dot together become a navigation star, and it's our guiding light. The solid line underneath is what's referred to as a digging stick, and it's used when doing hard work. For us, as people of action, it represents a tool for getting things done. You'll also notice the colors: purple, green, and white. These are the same colors I've asked you to focus on instead of selecting a theme jacket. As we celebrate diversity, equity, and inclusion, I wanted all of us to be able to express ourselves differently in what we wear, but to still have a connection. There are several ways to interpret the colors, and quite easily, they could mean purple for polio, green for the environment, and white for peace. Together, as many of you have already guessed, they're the colors of the women's movement, and for me, a subtle nod to this history.
And Stephen, if you could show the PNG of the logo, that's from the website as well. And what I wanted to mention to you is, in order to be able to put that page together at our website, I wanted to make sure that I and you had good, high quality versions of the logo. And there are 2 versions that you're going to be seeing during the year. One is vertical, which is what you saw illustrated in that video. And the other is horizontal, and this is it right here. This one shows the Rotary symbol, which is identical to our website, and the Imagine Rotary in its horizontal format, which has the guiding star and the stick underneath it, and Imagine Rotary on the right. We have these here, but these kinds of resources are all available at Rotary International. And you, as a member of Rotary, have a membership there. If you've never used it, it's probably worth your time to go there. If you go to, it's My Rotary, but you'll find your way if you go to Rotary International and try to log in, it knows you. It knows you because we've given Rotary International your email. And what they will do is give you a password. You'll have to confirm it through email, and then you'll be able to get into Rotary International anytime you want. Knowing that this is what's coming, I was really interested in the fact that those 7 dots were referred to as areas of focus. Well, in my learning over the past decade, I've heard people talk about avenues of service, but I didn't understand the areas of focus. It didn't come up in PETS. What did come up was reference to it again and again, and then our incoming president is making it an important part of our theme. So part of my investigation in the past few weeks is to find out what the connection is between these areas of focus and the avenues of service. It turns out Stephen knows much more about this because this is important for the way the foundation makes its decisions. Stephen, if you could take us to the guiding principles page at our website. I've actually changed it to deal with the areas of focus, and I do want to mention that because I think it's an important part of what Rotary is and what it stands for. When we think of the guiding principles of Rotary, everybody is familiar with the 4-way test, and we don't talk about it as much as we used to. We have the object of Rotary, and then below that you can see there is the 4-way test. And maybe we should review that from time to time. There's 4 areas, and don't scroll down too far. And can you maybe make it a little less wide so that we get bigger type, Stephen? And people who heard me talk about the 4-way test is this is something we're supposed to use in our decision making when we think and what we say and what we do. It should be kind of part of what of who we are as Rotarians. And when I look at it, I see 4 statements, and I kind of divide them into the first 2 and the second 2. The first 2 I call are the is-its. When you've got a decision to make or something to consider, those are the 2 statements you use to look at it. And what you're wondering about is the thing you're considering and your information about it. Is it the truth? And will it be fair to all concerned? As somebody who has kids, one of the things you hear kids say is it fair? Well, one of the things I've taught my children is the world isn't always fair. But if you're a Rotarian, you have to be fair. And the others talk about the future. As a result of whatever decision you make, whatever you're going to do, you look at the will it's. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And it's interesting that they highlight the word when you usually see it written beneficial, but I like the word all. Is it beneficial to all concerned? The collateral people with regard to your decisions. I can't help but think that if Putin was a Rotarian and he used a 4-way test, we wouldn't be worrying about Ukraine right now. The avenues of service are really important, and they've come up when we've been talking about things that we're going to fund, things we're going to do. If somebody has a project or a project I'd like Rotary to become interested in, one of our first questions is, does it fit into one of our avenues of service? This is a defining aspect of what Rotary is. And club service has to do with the quality of our clubs. Vocational service talks about business. Everybody is familiar with community service and international service, and probably youth service as well. But what about these areas of focus? And maybe if you could scroll down a little bit. I wondered how they fit. And so eventually I found a gal in Florida, Dr. O, who's actually come up with a whole matrix that talks about how they fit together. It turns out that the avenues of service, Rotarians thought, were too broad. You could have too many things that were possible under avenues of service. And so Rotary felt that what they really needed to do was focus the avenues. So within each of the avenues, we have these 7 areas of focus. And there are little symbols for them as well. And the new one, and the one that's of great interest right now, the one they've added, it used to be 5, and then it was 6 areas of focus. Well, now, as of last year, there's a 7th, which is supporting the environment. And one of the things I think a lot of Rotarians are hoping is this is a need for which we might be able to attract more younger members, because the quality of the environment, the climate issues, the loss of species and spaces is so important. So I think that talking about the areas of focus is going to become more interesting this year, simply because our international president, a Canadian, had decided to make it a very important part of the theme for the coming year. I have one other resource for you, and then I'll stop talking. Stephen, if you could go back to the home page. And that is how we can keep track of what we're going to be doing as a club and when we're going to be doing it. I don't know how many times in the past, when we have a meeting coming up, I'm wondering, when is the next meeting? Do I need to make myself available for that? Well, one of the things that I've done recently is embedded into our site a calendar. And my hope is that in the coming year, we're going to put everything that we are doing, either as a whole club or as committees, on the calendar. so that if you are in town wondering, do I need to be back at home tonight for that, you go to the calendar, and what Stephen's going to do is scroll up, and you'll see it's on the tab at the top. Stephen's having some problem because he doesn't have a mouse. He's got one of those pressure pads. But there you can see on the blue banner is the RCBI calendar. It's a standard plain old Google Calendar that I've embedded into the site. And here you're going to see it. And right now, I can post on it. And I've authorized Hillary to use her Gmail account to be able to post on it. If anybody needs to have access to post things on this calendar, a free Gmail account will allow you to do that, and I can authorize you to do it. Hillary and I worked out what we had to do so that she could do that. So you'll see that some of the recent meetings are on here. There's not a whole lot, but there's today's meeting right now. And if you go there, let me show you what you'll find if you go there. Stephen?
All right. Come on. Why aren't you?
And what you're seeing, by the way, you can do with an iPhone or an Android phone as well, or Bon could do with his iPad.
Come on, just.
It is awkward not to have a mouse. What you'll find there right now is the link to this meeting and the entire agenda. So it's all there for you, and we can easily post it there in the future.
Wow.
Yes, Lynn?
Yeah, fantastic. Impressive.
It's so easy to do. Why didn't we do it a long time ago? So most of the things I've been talking about are here at the website. The whole business about the new president, that's all there for you, and the calendar is there for you, and the background about the object of Rotary. And why I think this is so important for you folks to know is about acquiring members. We can have a membership committee that can go out and invite people to join Rotary, and we should. But what I know about volunteer organizations is people don't join just because you're a wonderful organization. Some do, but you can't expect people to knock down our doors to get to us. What I've discovered is people usually join people. And the most attractive thing about our club, and I'm talking to members now, is our members. People join because they like you and what you stand for and what you're doing. I know this because I've seen it in other organizations. And the usual rule is first make a friend and then a colleague. And it's going to be really difficult for you to enroll people in Rotary if you really don't understand the true full depths of Rotary. And so I've been learning a lot about Rotary as a result of President-Elect's training. And I hope I've been able to share a little bit about it with you tonight, but I know how important you are to the stability and growth of the club. And that's why I put these resources here on the website. So I'm hoping they're there that you can use, and I hope we can use it and it's not just me. And that's what I had to say. I'd be pleased to answer any questions.